Jennifer Lopez is here. She had to come in two limousines, one for her, one for her ass.
Oh God.
Oh, yes. Oh, God. Yes. Welcome back to Is It Still Good? This is the show where we take our rose-colored glasses. We take them off. We get ourselves in shape. We get in great shape. We get in great top physical form. We leave those glasses behind us. We fast forward 20 years, 25 years. We maintain our form. We continue to be hot well into our career. And it is so we become so hot. We never think about those rose-colored glasses again. So we don't have them. So it is without them that we must continue to look back upon the culture of our youth to ask ourselves if it's still good. We are two grown-up film students who hate growing up. I'm Bear Kennedy. I'm currently in the wintry mix of Denver, and joining me this week, as always,
Andrew Carter in Los Angeles. I gotta say, man, you're holding the microphone. That is commitment, and you've done
yeah,
this for the second week in a row. I'm impressed.
it's weird. Obviously this is a less than ideal setup. I'm living in this Airbnb
Mhm.
house that um I have a lot of problems with. Not for this day. For this day, perfect. For like a place where a person would live, lot to be desired. So I'm in a guest room. I don't have a proper desk or anything here. Um, so this is where I've been taking my calls, and I'm
Okay.
also going to hold this microphone.
You know, my
So
friend, one of my best friends from Connecticut, Nick Tagliarino, Nick Tag as we
God,
call him.
like two
You,
minutes in, name drop.
but listen. You met him at Chapman. He was the guy that went on. He and I went on the roof at that party, like
Oh
the
yeah,
fall of my freshman year,
yeah, that
because
was funny.
he went to Pitzer. And he goes, dude, you want to go on the roof? And I was like, why would we do that? He's like, I don't know. At Pitzer, we go on the roof. Let's go on the roof. And so we were like, all right. So we climbed up on the roof and we just were like, hey, what's up? He just moved to Denver like this week.
Oh wow,
Yeah. Bless you, Zoe. Zoe
yeah,
just
bless you for
sneezed.
me as well.
Bear says bless you. Um, so he just moved there this week. And I'm pretty sure Denver's a tiny town, so you might see
Can't wait. I'll definitely recognize him,
you're gonna
especially
run
wearing a
into him.
mask.
Yeah, no, wearing a mask. That's the key to recognizing him. Anyway, welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for joining us. As Bear said, this is the show where we revisit the pop culture of our past, um, and decide how it holds up as adults. This week, we are doing Jennifer Lopez's second album, J.Lo. I would have said J.Lo's second album, J.Lo, but it just kind of sounds a little weird.
Understood.
But this was her second album, and she called it J Lo as an homage to her fans because they had been calling her that. I guess apparently from the start of her career, but it really started to take off and catch on in the early 2000s. You may recognize some of the hit singles on it: "Love Don't Cost a Thing," "Play," and "I'm Real," the Murder remix with Ja Rule.
Yep.
So, do you remember when this album came out? Because I definitely do. It was
Yeah,
huge.
I remember this. I remember her. Obviously, I mean, she was just a mainstay on TRL. It felt like,
Yes. Yeah.
and I don't know. Like, was her first album On the Six? Was that '99 or so?
Yeah, it was June 99, but I remember it really taking off. And I feel like maybe this just happened a lot when we were kids. Like albums, I guess it can still happen today, but it feels like it happened more then where an album comes out and then like months to a year later, it's huge because of the
Yeah,
singles getting released subsequently. And the thing that I remember JLo for was Waiting for Tonight. And that
yeah.
was in like so her first album on the six was June 99, and then Waiting for Tonight was released as a single in November of 99. And for those 90s kids out there listening, you'll all probably remember this was a time when you would buy an album for the single. Like,
A hundred percent. Yes,
yes,
a
they
hundred
would
percent.
still release singles on CD, but they were harder to find, at least in my experience. And you would also just hear them on the radio, and that would then get you to go to Sam Goody or Tower
Yeah.
Records or HMV or FYE, whatever, and you would buy the record there. But
What is HMV?
HMV is, I believe it's a British thing, but I think they had some in the States. There was like a dog as part of the logo, and
I
it
don't
was
remember this at all.
I think it was something, I forget H, I don't know, but like music video was part of it. Maybe home music video. I don't know.
I would believe that. I know FYE was for your entertainment, and
Yeah, for your entertainment, right?
I remember going to those. But I don't even think I can't even picture what HMV
I
is.
remember they
That's
even
interesting.
had. I'd hear radio ads for it, and it would be like HM and then V like that. I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, the dog is still the logo. It's like a pink logo with a dog, and it doesn't say what it stands for. It just says music and video, music, films, and games, hmv.com.
Home music and video would make sense.
That probably is what it is.
That's
It's
not that much of a stretch.
home of entertainment. That's, oh, here it is. What does HMV stand for? HMV stands for His Master's Voice, the title of a painting by Francis Borad of Jack Russell dog Nipper, which is the logo. They have a Jack Russell. That is very obscure.
So wait, are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not kidding.
It stands for His Master's Voice?
Yeah, which is the title of a painting of a Jack Russell dog, and their logo is the Jack Russell dog.
Did the guy own
wild
the store?
I have no idea, but the logo of it is a Jack Russell staring into what are the vibraphones? What are the old record players called?
Oh, I know exactly. I can picture exactly.
There you go. Yeah. What are the old record players called?
The gramophone?
Gramophone, that's it. There you go. Yeah, Grammys, gramophone. There you go. Yeah, that's the logo. So that's why it's called HMV, His Master's Voice. That's pretty clever, actually. I gotta say, that's cool. It's obscure in terms of the reference.
Couple degrees removed from what anyone would think it is. That is weird.
Yeah, I mean, who's ever gonna be like, what do you think HMV stands for? I don't know. His Master's Voice by the painting. Yeah.
What do they sell there?
Yeah. Yeah, right. That's funny. But anyway, so you remember do you remember this album better than On the Six?
I don't know. I really remember I remember Waiting for Tonight, because even now that song is hilarious to sing because of all the whoa. I remember If You Had My Love real bad, because that video was hot.
I remember that too. I also remember, funnily enough, I was thinking about it this week too. I listened to Z100 in New York. Well, in Connecticut, but like in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, the Z100 was the main radio station of all the popular songs. And they had a parody song. Instead of If You Had My Love, it was called If You Had My Butt. And it would talk about J.Lo's butt, and it would be like, if you had my butt and you squeezed it. That's like all I remember from it. Yeah. And just like I would, make mixes on these tapes from my boombox, and I would press the play record thing and record it. And one morning it was on, and I was like, I got to get this on the mix. And so I did the play and record, and I got it. But it was only that one line for whatever reason. So I would hear that one line over and over again. But
yeah, it's tough to describe, like, especially now in 2021. I don't know that we do a better job of not sexualizing pop stars, but at the time, making fun of J.Lo's ass or just making a lot of references to it was extremely accepted. It's
it was too
fair
accepted.
game.
That was the whole
Chris
point
Rock
of that
line.
song.
Yeah.
What's Chris Rock's line?
Chris Rock, I believe it's the VMAs either 2000 or 99 said, Jennifer Lopez is here. She had to come in 2 limousines, one for her, one for her ass.
Oh God! Oh my! I remember that.
Yeah, I mean it's good, but
dude, he was yeah, that's definitely that would not fly today.
No, I think we've gotten a little better about just not having women's body parts as immediately open for discussion.
On a more serious note, on that, Zoe and I just watched the Britney Spears documentary, the New York Times thing. Yeah. They made such an interesting point of when little 10-year-old Britney was on that show, and the host is asking her, do you have a boyfriend? What's your boyfriend like? Do you want a boyfriend? Yeah. And it's like, as if you can't think of anything else to ask her. Like, yeah, that is ridiculous.
Well, read any profile in like a magazine, and they'll just go into to varying degrees of weirdness, just sexualizing the person. They're like, we're eating a steak, and I can just picture my foreskin slipping between her lips with a bite of filet mignon. It's like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
It's gross. Yeah. But you're right. Back then it was very accepted. And
Yeah, that was
I mean, look,
extremely fair game.
I did just laugh at that Chris Rock line. Maybe I should
It's
be
good.
ashamed of it, but it's
You
funny.
should, but it is funny.
My favorite, and look, sometimes lowbrow stuff can still. I mean, look, I put on Scary Movie and I laugh my ass off. There's definitely some stuff in that movie that did not age well, and frankly, I actually don't laugh at that. But there's still like fart jokes and stuff that I find funny. But my favorite Chris Rock line at it was the VMAs, and he was like, he goes, he's talking about Punked and how he's like, and they punked Justin Timberlake. And did you see? You know how like when he doesn't know he's being punked, he's like the whitest guy ever. Oh, you gone? No, you took my dogs. What am I gonna do, mommy? Oh no! And then when the cameras come out and they reveal, he turns like he turns like, oh, you got me, dog. Oh, you got me for sheezy. Oh, you got me. And he goes, they always punk pop stars or movie stars. He's like, I never see him punk any rappers. And then he just goes, imagine if they punk DMX. Like, hey, DMX, you've been punked. Oh yeah, you've been stabbed. Which I had died laughing when I was like 15 at that joke. But
That's
anyway.
good. No, that's a funny joke. DMX had some hard lyrics.
Oh, yeah. Dude, how about DMX's cameo in Chris Rock's movie Top 5? That was a great
There's
cameo.
no way I've ever seen the movie Top 5 or would know that DMX had a cameo.
It's underrated. Top 5 is a very good movie, and DMX is in it, and you're like, what are you doing here? And he has one of the most memorable scenes in the movie.
The only Chris Rock movie I remember is that one where he dies or something and goes to heaven.
Yeah, Down to
and
Earth.
he just
Also
he just
came
says,
out in 2001.
Tiger Woods, y'all. Yeah, awful.
Yeah. He's like, I had this dream before. Is Pac here? Tell Pac I'm here. And when he gets to heaven, I saw that movie in theaters. I remember I was a big fan of it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was a very big fan of it.
Look, I'm obviously not above commenting on Jennifer Lopez's appearance because she is unbelievable hot still. I mean, she's been hot like as long as I've been alive.
She looks amazing. Zoe and I were talking about it.
It's unbelievable.
So Zoe and I listened to this album together because we drove back. We went on a little getaway to Palm Springs this weekend.
Nice.
Just us and the dog. Kept it safe, obviously, and on the way back, I was like, why don't we just put on J.Lo's? Because I have to listen to this anyway for the podcast. Let's listen to it. And a lot of what we talked about after we listened to it was like what she does to stay in shape. And Zoe's convinced, she's like, she must drink the blood of virgins or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it was like not illegal, but not like expressly legal, whatever she's into. It's not even
crazy. Right. And it's not even so much that she like looks great and is attractive. It's more
she's
like
in great shape.
That's what it is, right?
Physical
right.
shape.
She's in great shape. That's exactly what I said. I was like, she could beat the shit out of most people I know.
Yeah, like
maybe most people on the planet. And not only that, she also looks incredibly young.
She does. She doesn't look as young as she clearly looks like on this album or the videos and stuff.
Right.
Like she has aged, but for a 20-year difference, it's like she just looks incredible. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and she has this is a more important topic we should discuss. She has a wealth of seemingly, infinite wealth of talent.
I wish she would go back to doing more movies because I'll be honest, I don't love any of the songs I've ever heard from her, but
we'll get into
Out of Sight is so fucking good and she's so good in it.
You know what?
And
I show on that because I've never seen it.
Okay, I kind of give her. I'll shut up about it.
I hear it's great,
but I kind of give her a free pass on a lot of stuff because of how good she is in that movie. It's like, oh, well, no.
Did you see Hustlers?
Maybe she's not going to be great. No,
dude.
If she's in it, it's like, look, she's in Out of Sight. Maybe she'll pull it out again. I don't know.
Hustlers. Okay, first of all, I think she should have been nominated for an Oscar, and there was talk that she was going to be nominated for Best Supporting Actress. And she wasn't, which is, I think, bullshit. I also think Hustlers is a really entertaining, really good movie and an interesting story. And J.Lo is really, really good.
That doesn't surprise me. She can act. I don't know if she's interested in it anymore or what the deal is, but
she is. I think that she's doing movies now that unfortunately are being delayed because of the pandemic. But I think Hustlers showed people. That's another fucking crazy thing that I hate saying that. I resent saying that because it's not that she needs to show anybody anything. But you hear people say all the time, like, oh, wow, I didn't know she could do that. And I guarantee you J.Lo is thinking, yeah, of course I fucking knew I could do that, And it's
acting, I mean, she's, like I said, I mean, I'm not like seen Made in Manhattan or whatever. And I didn't go out of my way to watch the fucking, what's the one that came out? Yeah, was that the one that was the same?
Yeah, they came out
Year
the
is this? Yeah.
same, like this around the same time as this. Yeah, same.
Which is
This,
the biggest accomplishment is that this was a number one album at the same time that was a number one film. That
yeah,
is
that's unbelievable.
crazy.
It's never happened
Uh,
before or since.
I'm pretty sure I've seen The Wedding Planner like on an airplane or something when I was a
I
kid.
never, I never did. I actually think we should do a show on that because I hear it's a solid romantic comedy. I heard in McConaughey's book because he talked about how he did a lot of rom coms and he was like they're Saturdays, they're fun, and like that's what he called them. And I was like,
And
all right, I could get on
I
board with that.
I get it. I don't
Yeah,
think I'm going to be blown away by her acting in that movie, but that is unbelievably cool to have a number one album and a number one film
yeah.
on the same
And
weekend.
knowing
That's
your
crazy.
taste and knowing what blows you away, I don't necessarily think you'll be blown away by her in Hustlers, but I will think you'll like the movie and you'll probably think, yeah, she was very good. That's
Yeah.
just knowing your personal taste. I think you'll be like, yeah, she was really good and she did things in there that were, you know, a little nuanced than from what I've seen from her. That being said, I haven't seen Out of Sight, so you may find a lot of similarities.
She's
Um,
fantastic in that. I just I with this album, I didn't own this album. Did you own it?
I did not own it, but this was around the time of like LimeWire and Kazaa and everything. So I definitely downloaded. Uh, sorry. I download. Sorry, I'm gonna tell him what you just did. I'll cut it out. Don't worry. So he just every time I'm doing something serious, this is why she's the best wife ever. Every time I'm doing something serious and she's in the room, she flashes me.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and she just goes like this, and it's just like a blank face. Lucky for me, she's got the best tits in LA. But anyway, but anyway, so I downloaded "I'm Real" by Ja Rule. I definitely also downloaded "Play," dude. When that song, that's track 3 on the album,
Yeah.
that song came on, I hadn't heard it probably in 20 years. I had not
That
heard it in
song
so long.
is terrible. That
Yeah,
song is awful. That
but
is
I kind of like it.
oh no, no, no,
It
no.
was catchy. I like it,
It's
but
catchy, but it's so rote. That is
yeah, the
it
irony
sounds
of
like
it,
it sounds like a Madonna song that is also she literally has a song
right,
that's about hey DJ play that song. That's the most played out
right,
fucking line ever that
and the
it
irony,
sucks.
right, and the irony of it is that it's a song about asking the DJ to play a song, and I would never ask a DJ to play that song. Play.
I would never ask a DJ to play a song.
Oh, I would. You never would. You never go up to
in
them and
what
be like, "Hey, can you put?"
situation?
I don't know. Like I haven't done it in years, but I'm trying to think the last. I probably was at like I don't know, at a wedding, and I was like, yeah, I probably was like, you have any Coldplay or
Yeah,
something?
you probably were. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
could you spin up Baker Street real quick?
yeah.
Um,
Could you, yeah, could you put on clocks and I'll be the only one dancing? Um, but like, yeah,
hate that song, hate everything about that song.
So
That
let's get
song
into the
sucks.
album then. What did you do? You remember? Do you remember hearing certain songs as a
Love
kid?
Don't
What did you
Cost a
think of them as a
Thing.
kid?
I mean, she just seemed with the timing of her albums and the singles and the nature of TRL, she was just a constant presence, I felt like.
Yeah, she was
Uh,
ubiquitous.
yeah, so I super remember Love Don't Cost a Thing. That was huge.
Oh
I
yeah.
do not remember Play at all. Though I was listening to this with Jackie, and she's like, "Oh yeah, this is like every middle school dance soundtrack
Yep.
right here."
Yeah. Every bar bat mitzvah. Yeah.
I don't remember I'm Real, the first version of it at all.
Neither do I. We got to talk about that.
Jackie knew all the words to it for some reason. So apparently that was
Wow.
out there. I didn't realize that the Ja Rule, the Murder remix version was her song. I didn't even know that was her. Like I
Well,
just knew it was a Ja Rule song. I didn't realize
right.
it's technically a Jennifer Lopez song featuring Ja Rule. But obviously I've heard that song quite a bit. I kind of like that song. She drops the
The
N word in it, which is very interesting. But
Yeah, dude, we heard that, Zoe, and we kind of looked at each other
yeah,
like, is
it's like,
that
oh, okay.
allowed? Like, I don't think so. It
there's
definitely
a
isn't allowed
whole
today. But
there's a
even
whole
then,
thing of
it's like, huh?
there's a part of the Wikipedia for the album that is is dedicated to that. Like a little slight controversy around her dropping an N bomb.
Oh, on the album's Wikipedia. I thought you
On
meant on
the
the singles
album's Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
No, on the album's Wikipedia, I think it was
Which
let me
section is
see.
it? Critical
It
reception, probably.
probably, but there was decent.
Legacy, maybe.
I
I'm
fucking
not
just
finding it.
oh
Oh, wait, wait,
Christ,
wait.
it's on here somewhere. Music and lyrics.
Maybe, yeah. Well,
No,
okay,
mother
so
of Christ, it's on here somewhere.
the original I'm Real, I fucking hate that song. I thought it was
Yeah,
terrible.
I could leave
The
it.
remix I genuinely enjoy. And apparently what happened was the album came out in January, like, the standard version of it.
Yeah.
And the last song was the Spanish song "Si Ya Si Acabo." Acabo. I'm butchering that pronunciation. I'm sorry. But there was the Ja Rule version because basically the record label was like, we can make even more money out of this. Ja Rule's hot. Let's get him to
Well,
do a
they were
new
correct.
version.
Yeah.
Let's get him to do a new version. And he completely remixed it and did a completely different version of it. And that was a much bigger hit. I think I'm Real on the album, the original, still was moderately well received, but the remix was huge. And especially at the time that it came out. I mean, Ja Rule was huge. Ja Rule, his album had just come out. The God, what was his first fucking album called?
Oh shit, I know this.
Well, wait a minute. He had Veni Vedi Vici, or whatever, but the Rule 336 had just come out. That was like in the fall of 2000, and so that was blowing up. And so the label was like, "Yo, let's get Ja Rule to come on this and do his thing." And also, he was in the Fast and the Furious, would have just come out. But then he did Pain is Love.
He has the best line in the Fast and the Furious. Do you remember that? He loses a race. Like a girl promises to sleep with him if he wins the race.
Yeah,
and her name's Monica. And as he's getting past, I think he's getting smoked by Vin Diesel. He yells at his dashboard, Monica.
Yeah, he goes, no, Monica. Yeah, she comes up to him right before the race and she goes, and she puts his hand on her breast. She's like, this is his name's Edwin, by the way. She goes, Edwin, this is yours, whether you win or lose. But if you win, you get her too. And she points to another woman, and then he leaves, or then he loses. Then he comes up to her, and he goes, "Hey, Monica," and she goes, "What's your problem? You didn't win." And then everyone's like, "Woo!" He's like,
I didn't remember that.
And then he goes, "Fuck you," then, and he's so mad.
Oh yeah, that's great. That was one of the first DVDs I ever bought, so we'll have to eventually rewatch that. But I just
20 years old in June.
That take of him is so perfect, just like Monica, gripping the stew, Monica. That's just excellent stuff.
Kind of had that tradition of like, let's get a hip hop star, because the first one was Ja Rule, second one was Ludacris.
Yeah.
Third one, Tokyo Drift, was Bow Wow, but then they brought Ludacris. Ludacris is like,
I was gonna say Ludacris became a main
character.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's great. But anyway, back to J.Lo. So yeah, I gotta be honest with you. I remember the singles. Listening to them again, I was like, oh, I remember these songs. I don't know if I had ever listened to the album in full. Maybe my sister bought it when we were kids, but I gotta tell you, this album did not work for me. Not only do I think I'm not its target audience. Obviously,
I think I can confirm that. Yeah.
But I also feel like there were so many songs. So many of the songs were fucking repetitive. Just like they ended with like a minute of the chorus repetition or something, and it felt like they were very glossied up and everything, and it just didn't work for me. And also we were Zoe and I were laughing because like track 7 through 11, if you put them together, they kind of sound like a sentence that someone would say. So it goes, "Come over, we gotta talk, that's not me, dance with me secretly." It's like,
it tells a story. Yeah,
it tells a story.
A concept album.
Yeah. We were like, what are these track titles? We were just dying laughing. But yeah, I don't know, man. I think some of the singles are catchy. I actually like that song Play. I think it's fun. I think it's enjoyable.
That song it just feels played out. Whole thing is just so fucking stale. But to me, this album stands on the breaks when Carino comes on. That song is fucking terrible. I've listened to this album a couple times, and every time I feel like I'm like kind of at
Yeah.
least into it, and then that one screeches it to a halt. I'm like, when is this gonna fucking end?
Really?
God,
Because
that song
I felt
sucks.
like I'm Real kind of blew it for me. Like I
I'm Real
knew that
isn't good,
I knew I
but
was gonna
here,
enjoy the singles, but
well, you talked to at the top of the show. You're talking about how like kids these days, god damn it, aren't gonna remember. You had to like buy an album if you wanted to hear the song. You couldn't just download it. And this album has the feel of one awesome single and then a remaining album that doesn't quite reach that high or catch what was going on with that single. I think Love Don't
yeah,
Cause a Thing is a very strong single. I think the rest of the album is like, all right, fuck, we need 14 more tracks.
yeah.
And that does still happen. I mean, the last time I listened to an album that was like that was the first Foster the People album. Like I bought that album because I was like, oh, this song
Good album.
Pumped Up Kicks is great. That album fucking sucks. It sounds nothing like Pumped Up Kicks. It's a
You don't like
completely
those?
different sound.
I feel like that they have
Torches?
songs on there that are better. Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of one of their different
No.
albums. I love their
That
song "Sit Next to Me." That's on a later album. That song's
I
awesome.
I don't care for that song. And I think I just don't like that band. I think they just made
All
one
right.
song that I like.
Okay.
Which is disappointing when you think like, all right, that song's cool, heard it, can't get out of my head, I'm going to buy the album, and you're
Okay.
instantly rewarded with not the same
Yeah.
sound that you expected to be continued, to be explored throughout the album. To me, this seems a lot like that. The title or
Yeah.
it's not even the title track, it's just the first single is the
Mhm.
first track,
Right.
and that's blowing the load right off the bat, I think.
Yeah. I feel like I agree with you, and I think that when you have a first track like "Love Don't Cost a Thing," it's kind of like it's a big swing right away.
Yeah.
And it's a really elaborate beat, and I feel like you can kind of tell. And let me correct me if this is what you were saying, but it feels like you're saying that like that's maybe the best song on the album, and it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, it's different. It feels like the single. I mean, that's a very obvious
Right,
single. It feels like they
right.
they they were like, here's the next single. You got that in the can. We're like, all right, we got to build an album in order to sell this song with. Because, like you said, like people don't really buy singles in the CD era. Like you could find them, but that wasn't really the whole thing. Like
Yeah, I
the
remember
mark
buying a
of success.
few.
Yeah, I
Right.
remember having a few that were weird. Like I
Yeah,
had
I had like.
Orgy's Blue Monday as a single, which is
Did
very
you?
fucking weird.
I had one of Papa Roach's singles, like not one of the big ones. Like I think I had "She Loves Me Not" because that was like from 2002, and I remember I really liked that song, but maybe their album wasn't out yet, or I wanted their album but I couldn't find it. But they had that single, and I remember I bought it in France.
Nice.
I was like, because they had I think they had an HMV or something like
Or
that
a
there.
Fnac.
What's Fnac? Is that a record
Fnac
store
is like
that's a?
the if I'm remembering right, it's like the French Best Buy.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it could have been that too. But like, yeah, it's some very random singles that we would buy. But yeah, you're right. Keep it. Yeah, keep in mind, it's like, yeah, this is 2001. No, people are buying albums, and you're so right. That's
Yeah.
probably what these execs thought of. Like, okay, now we need to build an album around this song. And the weird thing is, you're right. Nothing else on the album sounds like that first song.
No, it is more elaborate. The beat is
Yeah,
largely recycled throughout many of the other tracks. This one
yeah,
has the best
for,
production, the
for
most
sure.
elaborate arrangement.
And it's a great hook, and
It's good.
it's really catchy. You think you got to keep me? Yes, you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good, and like it makes you think this is gonna be a good. If that's the first song, man. But like what you hope for is that it builds from there, and in my opinion, the album just kind of goes downhill
Oh
from
yeah.
there. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of it is because there's a lack of consistency, and I think the older I've gotten, the more I've realized how much that matters. Not only in like, because it's easy to see it in films and it's easy to see it in TV in terms of like consistency. Like let's say you watch an episode of something and then you watch a couple more and you're like, okay, yeah, this feels like the same show that I started with. Let's keep it
Yeah.
going. And obviously, you know, everyone says like, oh, the pilot's always the worst one because the show needs time to find its footing. And maybe even a movie, the first few minutes are a little rougher than the rest and you got to give it time. But with an album, it's the same thing goes. Like you have to give it time, but if it sounds like if that's the thing, like Love Don't Cost a Thing and I'm Real they sound to me at least very different from each other.
They do. They sound different
And
from
then
each other.
Play sounds even more different. So it's
Yeah.
like, what's going on here?
I don't know. It's a pop album. It's tough with pop albums. She's a pop star. How much do we need to hold her accountable to like having a real artistic vision in this kind of thing? Like, is that an unfair criticism of?
I don't think so.
Music.
I don't think so because I think even a pop artist will tell you like that shit is art. I mean, you could call Taylor Swift a pop artist, and her albums are nothing if not extremely consistent. Like, personally, I like Taylor Swift. I think she's great. And I feel like I listen to her albums and I'm like, yeah, every song sounds like they fit together in this form on these albums.
I don't know. That's funny you bring that up. I was listening to Taylor Swift last night while we were playing some Settlers of Catan. And I guess we were listening to like a shuffle of her two most recent albums. And I'm going to have to go back and actually listen to them because there's a lot of stuff I really liked. And I'm not that high on her music. And the one song I keep hearing is that Champagne Problem song. And Jesus Christ, that song's awful. But I heard a bunch of other stuff that I thought was fantastic. And I'm going to have to go like reevaluate whether or not I like Taylor Swift, which I'm excited to do.
She's awesome. I think we should do one of her albums.
I like her as a person. Every time I ever see an interview or anything about her, like that's all good.
Yeah, she's great.
Especially with re-recording her old stuff to take ownership of it. I think that's cool.
It's pretty cool.
I've never been blown away with her until last night, and I don't know what it was.
Which album was it? Was it Folklore?
I think so. I mean, the weed certainly helped, but I was a little surprised at how much I was feeling some of those.
Speaking of weed, do you do edibles, right? And do you do those every night?
Guilty. Not every night. No, I'm not. Okay. I try to not do a ton of drugs, but it's quarantine.
I was listening to Seth Rogen on a podcast recently, and he was talking about how he, smokes weed all day, every day, and like acts when he's high, writes when he's high. And man, there's a part of me that was a little jealous of like, how the fuck are you so prolific and talented while you're high?
I don't know.
Because I feel like he is like the only person on the planet that is like that. And I don't fucking know how. And it drives me nuts. Because I cannot do that.
No, that's not for fun time. That's not, I don't know that I want to mix business with my recreational activities,
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, what does he do when he's not working? Just be more.
Well, he started a weed company, so I mean, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's great. He's hilarious. But so yeah, I feel like back to your question about like should we hold? It's tough, man, because like, do we want to hold him to a certain? Because I feel like there's two answers to that question of like, do we want to hold a pop star to a certain standard of like high art?
Yeah, because to me, this album is a vehicle for that first single.
Yes, and definitely.
I think that's even proven by the fact that I think the next best and probably more well-known song is an add-on track after the fact.
Right. And you know what? Remix. Those two, even though the tempos are a lot different, those two are very consistent to me.
Yeah,
in the remix of
it's interesting. I mean, there was some stuff in between that I didn't mind. Like, I actually was a little surprised about how sexy she got in some of this shit in a good way.
Yeah, I think she deserves a lot of fucking props for especially for the Spanish tracks where she's singing in complete Spanish the whole time. That's really impressive.
Great. Which she also, she just performed at the inauguration, which we just had to watch
dude.
too.
I mean, look, that's the thing I want to be clear about. Neither one of us is saying, and not that no one's ever gonna. I don't think anybody's gonna assume that we're saying this, but we're not saying J.Lo's not talented. She's extremely talented. She's
an amazing dancer. I do think she's a good actor. I don't know that she's a great vocal talent. I think she can sing.
I think she is. I think she has a great voice. I really do. I think I can hear her voice and know it's J.Lo. And for me, that's the mark of someone who's specific enough that you're like, okay, that's I know who that is, and that tells me enough of like, okay, they're good. Like,
I
think about, like,
guess
I know you said you don't really like Kings of Leon, but like Caleb Followill, man, you hear his voice and you know exactly who it is, and
that
it's
is a great
amazing.
example because that guy categorically cannot sing.
Oh, I
That guy,
completely disagree with
he
you.
sounds like he's singing through a vocoder held up against his neck like he just had a fucking larynx taken out.
He sounds
That guy
like no
sounds like
one else
shit.
I've he sounds like no one else I've ever heard, and I fucking love it.
Do you just
And
love vocal fry that much that you like can't get enough of it? Because that
no, it's not
drives
that I
me
love Vocal
crazy.
Fry. I just feel like when I heard him, I think that him with their music is a perfect match. Like
When
with
I
the
hear
way
him, I always think, I hope I don't have to hear a bunch of songs from this fucking band, and then I would treat it to them being like the voice of my
see when
generation.
I hear him, I think I hope I do get to hear a bunch of songs from this
Oh,
fucking band, and then I get my wish.
I've
And it's
never heard
amazing.
any song from them that I did not want to turn off.
Oh my, really?
Yes, boring.
Oh
Sound like someone put a blanket over their fucking amps. He can't sing. I don't know what there is to like
no,
that.
oh god, I strongly disagree. I think
Oof.
he's fantastic. But anyway, we digress. The thing with jail, it's not like you're right. I don't necessarily want to hold, someone to like to an impossibly high standard where it's like this should be high art. But I think that if this were, let's say the only way to listen to this album was to pay $20 for it, which is how it
Yeah.
was back in the day.
Yep.
I think I'd probably be a little annoyed. I'd be like, damn it, this was $20,
It's
and
product. Yeah, you got to move
yeah,
that. You got to move that album on the strength of the single.
right.
I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised that she got a little sexy on "Come Over" and "Secretly."
See, dude, come
Secretly,
over. Ugh.
"Come Over." It's a little uncomfortable. I don't know. Maybe it's because I know who she is now, and then
Right.
listening to her sing those like kind of sexy songs is like a little like hearing your mom like say something like, "I'm
No,
gonna
that.
suck your dick" or
Go ahead.
something.
You
Oh,
have
what the
you're
fuck?
entitled to your opinion. Go ahead.
I like "Secretly" as a song. I think that song is pretty
All right.
good. I like that she's constantly talking about smelling a dude. I couldn't
That's
stop laughing
true.
at that. I love it. She
But
just
come over was just, it felt like repetitive. It just felt like weird, kind of lame songwriting to me. It was like, come over
it's not
with
amazing.
me.
It's not amazing
Yeah.
songwriting, but it did like I feel weird having J.Lo for some reason on like a playlist of like songs I would play when it's time to fuck. But both of those
Let
songs
me ask you this
could
question.
land on that. Yeah.
Okay. Do you listen to music when you have sex?
No, but I did date a girl once who used to do that, and it was like exclusively pop punk. And
That's
I was
hilarious.
young, so I was just really happy to be having sex. Um, but
What were some of the songs? Like
it
Panic
was,
at the Disco? What are we talking
yeah,
about?
yes, because this
Oh
was in
man.
like 2007, so
Yeah.
it was like pop punk of that generation. I was like, I'm not into this, but
I like
I
Panic at
am
the
still
Disco.
hard, so we're ready to go.
So we're good. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I usually think like, all right, if you're gonna really, and I don't listen to too much like R&B let's fuck music.
Yeah.
If I did, I would put on Keith Sweat for sure. But I would also consider adding those two tracks from his album. I don't listen to a lot of her music. I don't know if that's something she often does. Um,
Yeah. I don't listen to a lot of her music either,
those
but again,
two, I was
I
feeling it.
do.
I was like, yeah, we could light a candle, you know,
Yeah. I
start
don't.
putting this music on and start thinking about interesting thoughts. And then
I've never really done it to music. That's fucking.
you've never done it to music.
I don't know, maybe once, but like it's.
Maybe once you
I just feel
you
like
would you'd probably remember
I feel like I would get really distracted, and I feel like I would be listening to the song,
instead of
and
your lover.
yeah, I feel like I'd be like, oh, that's an interesting. I feel like I'd like get into it because like I'm an animated and cinematic guy, so when I hear a song, I kind of picture like I picture cinematic images. So I feel like I just get into the song and then like forget what I was
Okay,
doing.
amazing. That's incredible insight. Do you ever hear a song and then picture yourself fucking? Like, because you picture
That's
cinematic
what I'm
shit.
gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do now.
Like I would imagine you could probably listen to those songs and picture yourself. Like just picture a fun situation. Like, maybe it's a hotel. Maybe you had a long day on set, you come home, your girl's there, she's ready to
Yeah.
go. There's towels abound.
Yeah, Zoe's ready to go. The climax of Fix You hits, and I'm. It's a Coldplay
Yeah,
song, of
dude.
course.
And you just fucking unleashed your largest load directly
Oh
onto
my
that carpet.
god, that is horrible. No,
But
but like, yeah, I feel like with some of the more R, I'm not all I've never really been that into R&B. Like there are definitely R&B songs that I like, but if you asked me what type of music that I liked, I wouldn't say R&B, and I did, not because I have anything against it. It's just like it's never really been something that I personally respond to.
yeah, I agree. I don't love it either, but now that I'm thinking about it more, I don't even think I dislike it. I think I just don't think to listen to it.
Right. Yeah, that's
Because
what
like
it is.
right
I
now
don't
I just thought
dislike it
about,
either.
yeah, it's like, oh, I kind of like I don't hate it. Like
Yeah. Well, Boys to Men, amazing.
incredible. I'm thinking about
Dude,
that
that
D'Angelo song too. How does it feel? That
oh,
song is like a
D'Angelo's great.
banger.
Jagged Edge has some great songs.
Yeah,
Fucking, you know.
maybe I've done myself a disservice by not listening to more R&B. Maybe I've
Yeah,
done
no,
myself a
it's true.
disservice by not having a playlist for when I fuck. But usually it's tough. I
Maybe
mean,
we both have done a disservice
yeah,
for
music
that
can get
one.
in the way of the thought I normally have, which is don't come yet.
Oh my god. That's amazing.
What album was that D'Angelo? So isn't that song How Does It Feel where
I
he's
think that was
singing it and
on
he's
he also had a big album in 2000, and I think it was on
is
that
that the one?
album.
Voodoo?
Yeah, I think it's on Voodoo, right? Maybe I'm wrong, but
Maybe I'm thinking of the
you know what's
wrong.
funny? D'Angelo. So I like, I think if you asked me to name a song by him, I would probably, yeah, How Does It Feel? And that'd be it. But I remember I was so obsessed with Parental Advisory. I
The
saw
sticker?
his album with Parental Advisory on it, and I was like, it's cool. I gotta have it. I didn't even know who he was or what, but I was like, oh, D'Angelo, like he's Parental Advisory. I gotta do it. And it wasn't even in a, again, I didn't know anything about him, but I was just, I was a kid and I wanted to break the rules, and I was like, oh man, I gotta have Parental Advisory stuff. And so I was just like, I gotta have this album.
It
And I
is on
just,
that 2000 album where he's
right.
God, he looks
Dude,
fucking cut on the cover of this album
yeah,
to
he
me.
is, and he does, and I gotta say, he's got. I didn't know he only had 3 albums.
No, that's not true. Get the fuck. There's
Look,
only 3 on Spotify. Let me like, oh no, you're right.
3 albums.
Brown Sugar, Voodoo, and Black Messiah.
Yeah, and
Like
Black
just
Messiah was with the
3 for 3 on awesome album names for an
Black
R&B guy.
Messiah was with the Vanguard, which
I
I
don't know
guess
what
was the
that
band he
means.
played with. Um, Wait, what's that song by him? I think I just
Untitled. How does it feel?
that's it. Right. Yeah. So and I think that's the last track on the
That
album.
song
No.
fucking
No. It's the second last.
that song slaps so
Yeah,
hard.
it's good.
Um
It's real good. But
There,
anyway, back to J.Lo as we wrap up here. I
yeah,
feel like
sorry, digression about songs to
digression
fuck
number
to.
13,
Yeah,
as we are wont
well,
to do.
that's how it made me feel. It got me in the sexy mood. I don't know why I felt weird about it. I feel like
Okay.
Lo is such a pop icon. It's almost like off-putting that um like she fucks to me. It's like, oh, does she really want to put that out there for people to think about? But I don't know. I think she pulled it off. I don't know why. It's just weird. I think I picture her like on TV or at the
Interesting.
inauguration or whatever, and then she's kind of making some stuff that's a little
That's an interesting
risque.
perspective for a man to have on J.Lo. I feel like a lot of other men would be like, "Oh man, yeah, I bet you she fucks like crazy." But like you have like kind of like not the opposite, but yours is a little bit more nuanced. It's
Yeah, I don't
interesting.
know. It's weird. I don't know why that weirds me out a little bit, but I think at the
Hmm.
time it was probably less strange because she only had the 2 albums and she wasn't the international symbol that she is
Right.
now.
Right.
You
Yeah. I
expect
mean,
that kind of
she's
shit from like Prince. You don't necessarily
yeah.
think about that from J Lo. She
Jesus.
I feel like she has a little more wholesome nature to her. Maybe I'm totally wrong and
I know what you
just
mean. No,
projecting it.
I get that. Well, Prince is yeah. I mean, Prince is like he was the king of sex. I
It's
imagine.
great,
Like
great music for a fuck playlist.
yeah,
Excellent
dude.
stuff.
He was unbelievable. I remember when he died. It was one of those things where like you get texts from friends like Prince died. Like
Yeah,
that's how it was a big fucking deal. We were all shocked.
that
Like
and Bowie were hard to weather.
that same year too.
Yeah,
Within like 4
That
months
was
of each
pretty
other.
quick succession.
Bowie
Yeah.
was like early January of 2016, and then Alan Rickman was like right after him, which also sucked.
Yeah, that
And
was
then
weird.
Gary Shandling was March of 2016, and then Prince was a month after. Dude, 2016, man. Carrie Fisher died, Debbie Reynolds died, George Michael died. Like a lot of fucking people died that year.
Yeah.
That was fucking
Democracy.
yeah. Democracy died. Yep, that's
Uh,
still hoping can come back, but yeah, at least for me with this album, I'd say no, it's not still good. I definitely have tons of respect for J.Lo, and I'm not gonna turn off Love Don't Cost a Thing, I'm Real remix or Play if they ever come on at a party or something. But
Play. I did not get the love for
it's
Play.
catchy. It's got a good beat. Come on, I get it. It's not as strong as the other two, but yeah, as an album, I just felt like this was a little unfocused and just not that fun to listen to. It felt like all the songs were a minute and a half too long, and
I
that was
agree with
also
that.
it was such a product of its time of 2001, and it was also a product of that time when like you have a big hit single and then you just make an album with whatever the fuck you want on it, and the songs are like 4 minutes 5 minutes each, and it's
Yeah.
I think that look, I'm a little resentful of the shorter attention span when it comes to like movies and TV shows and stuff, because it's like, no, people should still be able to sit down and watch good content no matter how long it is. But that being said, I do actually think with songs it's become a good thing that songs have gotten shorter and albums have gotten shorter. Because first of all, it's like it allows you to um ingest something at not only a faster pace, but I don't know, it just kind of feels like it allows for the piece to be and hopefully feel a little bit more cohesive. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I don't agree with that, but at the same time, like I don't listen to a lot of pop music generally,
Right.
and I've been finding myself listening to a lot of like Typo Negative lately, which they love doing 9 to 12 minute metal songs with like multiple movements in them, and I think that kicks ass.
Oh
Um,
yeah, I don't get
so
me wrong, dude.
it just depends.
It depends, right? It depends. I mean, like, this is a very random thing, but fucking Meatloaf,
Yeah,
Paradise by the Dashboard Light. That's one of the best songs ever, and that's like 11 minutes. I love that song, and it's like, how many movements is that? Like four.
it's at least four.
Let me sleep on it,
Yeah,
baby, baby. Let me sleep on it. Yeah, it's
yeah.
amazing.
Uh, yeah, and I've had phases in life where I've gotten like really into the Mars Volta because I feel like people my age do that, and that's some shit where it's like, yeah, I need 20 minutes of a guitar solo and then some Spanish that I don't understand.
Yeah,
I
they're
need to
fucking
feel like
wild. Or
that's
some
like
Lou
really
Reed.
profound.
That what's that one album that's just all noise?
I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Uh,
some metal machine maybe. I don't know,
yeah,
but literally, it was like a big fuck you to his I think record label, where
yeah.
he's just like, fine, I owe you an album. Here it is, and they couldn't do anything about it.
So I
It's
don't. I like.
crazy.
I don't. I agree with you. I don't think this album is very good. I do think the production is dated, but not in a way
Yeah,
that makes it like unlistenable. I think it's just kind of fun. Like
yeah,
there's a couple times where there's like a chime hit, like,
yeah.
and it's like, yeah, that's 2001
They have a bunch of that in Love Don't
right
Cost
there.
a Thing.
Yeah, that like there's a lot of elements that are of that time that I
Right.
just find funny more than anything. Like it's just like, oh yeah,
I
of
agree.
course.
Yeah, it makes you laugh. I get
And
it.
this was like before they really discovered like big bass hits and stuff like that that you kind of expect now
Yeah,
out of pop music. And it's interesting to go back and listen to that. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't see myself listening to this album ever again. Like I just
I
can't.
definitely don't either.
I can't even like picture myself at the time listening to it. It's like uh, you got the
Yeah, I
one
think at the
song.
time it was like everyone else is listening to it, so I want to be cool, right? So I'll listen to it. It's like this. We were 12 when this came out. That's like the prime age of like I want to be cool. So what's everyone listening to? It's like you
Yeah,
listen to it, you have it on your Kazaa playlist because you want to like look cool for your friends, or like you want to be hip. Like, oh yeah, you're listening to that song. I'm listening to that song too.
yeah. But there's not a lot to revisit. I mean,
No.
I don't know. I don't want to. I agree with you. I think she's great.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I love J.Lo,
but she's weathered a lot of
album.
different trends and a lot of different musical kind of the times in the last 20 years as far as what pop music was, and I don't think that's bad. I just
I will say this.
It just doesn't. I cannot imagine playing this album again.
I definitely won't, but I am curious to see what some of her music sounds like now, because she's still doing it, and she just did a carpool karaoke with James Corden a couple of years ago, and it's like, okay, she's still doing it and selling out show. Like, she's still a big fucking deal in the music scene. I want to see what she's up to. I want to see what she's done, because I bet you there's stuff on there that I would recognize, but that I don't realize I would recognize.
You're probably right. I guess she's got a single from 2020. Is that a single?
Oh yeah. And also, dude, she just performed at New Year's Rockin' Eve.
Well, and the inauguration.
Right, and of course, even more recent.
But I don't know. Yeah, I didn't for this time. I didn't listen to her more recent stuff for the comparison. Sometimes we do that. I just didn't. But I don't know. I don't like it. I don't think it's. I don't know that it was ever a really strong album. Now it's kind of a curiosity that just carries.
It's still her biggest. J.Lo's still her biggest selling album.
Interesting.
One that we listened to. Yeah, it's her biggest hit. Probably because it's a product of the time.
She came right off that first album into the second. It was just like a snowball.
Right. It was
She just fucking arrived. So that makes sense.
And the Ja Rule thing, it's like, it was just a perfect storm of stuff. But according to Apple Music, her last album was AKA in 2014, which is a lot. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that long ago. But you know what it is? Also, it's a singles game now. Even for like well-known artists, sometimes certain artists, they're just putting out singles. You know, and then all of a sudden they'll drop. It's changed so much. Like when this album came out, it was like we knew it was coming for months. You know, it's like, and then it just all of a sudden it's like now artists will announce an album. Like in 2019, Coldplay announced a new album like a month before it came out, and that was like, I love that because it gives me something to look forward to, and I love them. But like now it's just like, surprise, here's an album. It's very different. It's a very different thing.
Yeah, at least in the pop world, it's certainly a little different. So that sounds like it's two no's.
Yeah, I would say two.
Unfortunately,
sure.
I don't feel great about it, but
I don't either.
I can't deny that I didn't love it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it. But thanks for listening, guys. Feel free to give us a 5-star review. Please subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify. You can visit us at Still Good Show on Instagram, stillgoodshow.com. You can send us an email at stillgoodshow@gmail.com. Next week, we will be doing The Full Monty with our friend Matt O'Leary, who was in our fraternity with us. Yes, we are frat bro douchebags. I'm sorry. But we have grown up a lot. I hope so. But we are really looking forward to revisiting. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, and we were like 8 when it came out, or 9.
I definitely remember it, but yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I got to give O'Leary credit. He's the one that thought of that. That's a good suggestion, and I'm trying to think anything else that we need to mention.
No.
For Bear Kennedy, I'm Andrew Carter.